It's Friday. My God, what a time it's been. I need a 5x5 people real fast right now, if you can. We got a lot to unpack, and I was literally just on the phone before we come on air right now. Born outside, ladies and germs. How you doing, dude? Yeah, loads. So we're waiting for that confirmation. We've got to really get on it, okay? What I'm going to do is I've got so much to talk about. I'm going to try and do it in order, but you're just going to have to stay with me. All right, here we go. My partner, God bless you, darling. Thank you very much for that first. And Fire Pit Friday guy. Good. Excellent. Thank you for that, Matt. That's awesome. Right. Okay. We got a 5x5. Excellent. Right. Oh my God. There's so much to do. I'm not joking. This is nuts. We got 200 here in seconds. Wow. Bonkers. So let me just come up here. We're getting everything warmed up. Okay. 260 people. If you're watching this on a replay, can you come back or forward to about 10 minutes? And then we've got a shitload to unpack. All right. We're just going to get all of the comms and everything warmed up and established. Only those who do live streams will understand what it's really like. So you just have to bear with me. In the meantime, we can have a little laugh at this.
We're keeping an eye on Funky, the way things are going. He could really fuck shit up for all of us. At this rate, we just won't be able to sell any vaccines.
We've been talking lately, and there was a name that came up that we have to look into. What's his name? Funky something. That's it. Funky Prepper. If we don't do something about him, he could absolutely ruin fucking everything.
You know when I told you about how beneficial the Tesla car, AI, and Neuralink is? Well, I lied. You are all fucking screwed. The only people who have figured it all out is Funky's community.
True. The only people who have figured it out is us, guys. So awesome. We've got some people coming into the chat right now. Everything has been authorized and switched on. All of the links are underneath the video. So we're talking sign up to the newsletter for free. You just need a name and an email address. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, but make sure that you've hit that notification bell, because I've been doing loads of live streams lately and people just didn't know because they weren't notified. So make sure that bell's on, okay? Also, there is merch. At long last, yes, there is merch available. Lots of people have been asking me for a while. That's done. And there's a link underneath the video with merch on it. Also, there is a prepper meet where we're getting 300 like-minded people together over 2 dates this year. One of them is June, one of them is September. Like-minded people are all going to be going there, chin wagging, campfires outside, £11 a night. It's awesome. There is a link for the prepper meet below this video too, and lots of money off and discounts and all sorts of really cool stuff. So that is that. So usually we ask people where they're from, blah blah blah, and we see what the markets are doing, blah blah blah, and we see what MI5 security risk is, blah blah blah. I'm not joking. We've got so much to do. We're going to go into it now. I'm going to come out of the chat. Okay. So what have we got? 3 minutes, 54 seconds. So we are going to get into it. Okay. So yeah, mods, take care. There might be some lunatics out there. Just block them. I've already blocked one tonight. All right. So you guys in blue, if anyone is taking the mickey, if anyone's getting out of order, if anyone's being rude or disrespectful, just block them. Okay. Because, you know, that is part and parcel of a mod's job. Take no shit. I've been kicking loads out on Instagram. I'm not going to be looking at the chat. 4x4 fella Ben, awesome, mate. Listen, when you said about that thing on your post recently about the whole country striking on the 23rd or something, is that straight up? Did someone just make it up for a laugh, or has that got any weight to it? Wow. If that's the case, I'm playing that game. I think we should all strike. You know, the government will have to sit up and take note, wouldn't they? Right. Okay. I'm going to have to come out of the chat and we're going to get into it. Right. Let me see. What was the first thing that I put up there? Yeah, 2024. Okay, so we're rolling, right? 2024 this year. There was lots of things predicted over the next couple of years up to 2027, 2028, 2029. But the situation's changed. I've already talked about this already on a live stream the other day. Since the introduction of artificial intelligence, all of the previous predictions that we've been spending so long looking into has jumped. And I mean jumped. Everything's been pulled forward. And it does appear, with all of the things coming down the pipe, that this year we are going to see big trouble, which is potentially going to affect majority of the people on this planet. So we're going to go through just a few things. This was one thing that popped up a while ago during some research. Apparently so. Another one was this, which was left as a comment and printed out the legal documents before they got removed. And yes, they have been removed from the internet. And indeed, it predicts the UK population down to 14 million people by next year. And this is very likely to be true. Like I said, since the birth of artificial intelligence, all previous predictions have been scrubbed. Things have really changed. The 3 different types of AI are absolutely now in play and in full swing. We're not just at the development stage. AI is running amok. Big time. Absolute big time. I noticed someone earlier saying about Dr. John Campbell spent all day in the sun, measured his vitamin D levels, and he didn't change. Pretty alarming. But when you consider this sort of shit going on, it's no wonder that we're not getting vitamin C levels. I can't believe it's taken an intelligent doctor to understand that. Either that or he disbelieves in chemtrails whatsoever. Bonkers. To me, it makes sense. You start spraying shit in front of the sun, of course you're not going to get enough vitamin D. And this is a well-revered doctor. Well, there we go. We can all think what we want to think. Like I said, artificial intelligence is really ramping up the game now. And when we remember not long ago that these 2 clowns have taken part in this agenda so far, one of them is bowed out. The other one will be bowing out this year. Who am I talking about? Well, breaking news, if you don't know, Klaus Schwab is no longer in charge of the World Economic Forum. Breaking news, King Charles will not be king by the end of this year. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Now, like I said, I have got so many things to unpack. I'm literally going through so many things. I've got about 20 tabs open, which I'm going to be talking about. Oh, blimey, where is it? Okay, so it's that one there. Right. First presentation. Let me just check. Put it on full screen. We've got 718 people live right now. If you can hit the thumbs up and share this video right now, it'd be really cool because we need lots of people in there. And here we are. Look, World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab stepped back from his executive role. Here we are, highlighted the key points. The World Economic Forum confirmed Tuesday that founder Klaus Schwab is moving away from the day-to-day management of the organization after more than 50 years at the helm. 50 years. Wow. I wonder how much money he has in his bank accounts. I wonder. The forum said that the move was part of a multi-year strategy to change its management structure, shifting governance. Oh my shit. They love that word governance. To a president and managing board. Look at that. The 86-year-old. Who knew that Klaus Schwab is 86? Not many, I guess, but my God. Does he sleep in vinegar or something? Shit. Isn't it remarkable that the amount of quality healthcare you can get and be 86 and look like he does? To be fair, he doesn't even look human to me. But anyway, that is one of the dynamics that is changing. Absolutely. But another thing, it's just like most things. Let me just cue this up. Right, it's a Google page. Right. Here we go. So Schwabi is out the way. There we go. He's transitioning out the way until January 2025. So it's like a slow migration, but it's done. And this guy Borgi. I've obviously pronounced his name wrong. I'm going to call him Borgi because it sounds ridiculous. He is the guy right now. So let me just move on to that and see. Right, okay, it's that one there. Things are changing at the very, very top this year. Wow. Oh, there it is. Right, gotcha. So here is the guy. President of the World Economic Forum receives freedom of the city in London. Wow. Here we go. Borgi Brendy, the president of the World Economic Forum, WEF. So, yep, things are changing. This year, we have got a hell of a lot. Let me just try and maneuver my things here. Bear with me, guys. Wow. This news, honestly, there's so much to cover because things are changing, even as I'm talking right now. Oh, I'm not exaggerating at all. Bizarre. Yep. Okay. Right. Lots. Carl, you're a legend. I appreciate that. I just noticed that drop into PayPal. Thank you very much. You are a star. I really appreciate that, Carl. So, okay. The first thing on the agenda is Taiwan and China. Now, most of you guys who watch me on a regular basis know fair well that I don't talk about what's going on in Ukraine. I don't talk about Israel, and I don't talk about China and Taiwan. I just don't. I've avoided all of these war fear-mongering stories, unlike some other YouTube channels, and I'm not going to mention any. I've just not gone there. And one of the main reasons why is I'm finding it so difficult to believe anything which is going on, because to me, clearly, it's a massive propaganda campaign. And it is absolutely impossible to decipher which of all of that is got any truth in it. Which part of all of this war stuff has got any truth in it? No one can prove anything. There's such a confusing web of deceit, bullshit, etc. So any of you guys who really think they know every single thing which is going on with all of these conflicts, all I'm going to say is prove it. And you won't be able to. Why? Because whatever information you've got, it's got to come from somewhere. And who created that information? Is it trustworthy? Did it come from a mainstream source? Don't forget, we've already talked about deep fake stuff. It's very easy to fool the general public because they can make videos and photographs that's so realistic now, you wouldn't even notice the difference. And I spoke about that recently as well. And in fact, that video on YouTube was so hot, they banned it. They took the video down when I was talking and exposing what's really going on with deepfake and artificial intelligence. Now, 1.9 thousand people saw that live stream before it got cancelled and blocked by YouTube. So, am I over the target? Why would they block it if it's just talking about stuff? You've got to be very careful what's going on out there. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up, and please, please, for the love of God, share this video, because if this gets banned again, which it could do, we want to make sure lots of people watch it live. It's really, really important, guys. So, Taiwan and China. Why is this different to what's been going on in Russia? Wow. Things are moving at an alarming rate. So, we're just going to share the screen quickly. China conflict. Right, here we go. China and Taiwan conflict explained. What happens if Beijing tries to invade? Okay, really interesting footnotes going through this. This was 6 hours ago. Okay, so this is today. Tensions between China and Taiwan soared new heights this week, with Beijing deployed warplanes and naval vessels in a mock invasion of the island to demonstrate its anger towards the new president in Taipei. So if you didn't know, this is the guy's third term. He just got voted in recently, and basically his chance on Taiwan has remained unchanged, to the point that Taiwan want to remain independent from China. And if you don't know already, China is having none of it. It's quite similar in a very small way to what happened in the Falkland Islands. Look at where Argentina is and look at where the Falklands are. Did you know that Taiwan is 100 miles away from China? Yeah, it's very close, very similar demographics to the Falklands. Excuse me. And yes, there has been a shitload of saber rattling, all sorts of nasty, nefarious things going on in and around the South China Sea. We've been hearing stories of islands and barges being built in the middle of the ocean for Chinese warplanes and boats to use. It's not looking good. And the thing is, it's got none of China's business what Taiwan does. Nonetheless, they're hell bent on literally taking it for themselves. My question to them is, who the fucking hell do they think they are? But the fact remains is that's how arrogant, that's how ridiculous they are, and they are making lots of big moves towards Taiwan. Taiwan is remaining in a screw you, and they're carrying on as normal, going to work. There's no protests, there's no riots, there's no looting in shops, panic buying, nothing like that. So that sends a clear message to China that, yeah, we've heard it all before, etc. It doesn't end there, however. We are, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to cover this now because it's all linked, okay? So I'm going to come into the chat real quick, okay? Because I'm going to ask you guys a question. I want you to tell me, have you heard any aircraft at night time? Do you usually hear aircraft at night time? If you do, then it's no different, then fair enough. But if you don't usually hear aircraft at night time, and all of a sudden in the last few weeks maybe, you've been hearing lots of aircraft, can you let everyone know in the live chat? Or if you're watching this on the replay, can you leave a comment under this video? Because the more time that people spend reading through these comments, they're going to have a much better understanding of, wow, all of these things seem to have significance. And we are going to show you some of that in a sec. It's flipping bonkers what's going on. I'm not joking. I've got so many pages opened at the top of the page. It's bonkers. It really is bonkers, actually. Right, there's the map. China, mock missile. Right. So whilst you guys are replying, yes, a lot more helicopters. Yes. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, before I'm going to show you what I was going to show you, I'm going to show you this radar. And if you've not seen it before, it's called ADS-B exchange. I'm going to show you, this is what's going on live right now, okay, around the world. It's bonkers. You're going to love this. I know not all of you have seen this, but anyone can go onto Google and type in ADS-B exchange, track aircraft live. Look at this. This is the aircraft in flight right now, live all over the world. Okay, as you can tell, it's quite a lot. Now we can all see where the secretive countries are, can't we? Look at Russia and China. Nothing. Pretty much Turkey by the look of it too. They don't want anyone knowing what is going on over the skies. But when you click U, this letter here, it's only going to reveal military aircraft. Okay, so we click it. These are currently in the air right now, military aircraft around the planet. Now, there are lots of military aircraft who are in operations, for obvious reasons, are not going to be on this flight radar. At the moment, we've got this guy is only 825 feet, so it is ascending. I'd say it's just taken off. We got this guy here. Wow, 37,000 feet, so he's up there. All of this stuff is going on. But America, what the hell's America up to? Unbelievable. That this isn't normal for America. Something's building, lots of things are changing. And what's been happening in the UK, the amount of times that I've come on here and I've zoomed in, and I've seen about 40 aircraft, military aircraft, all over the UK. It just so happens that right now it's only showing one. But you guys who watch this radar website, every now and again, like I do, you're going to know and 100% say, yes, there is. There's lots usually on here. But right now, on this Friday, there doesn't appear to be so. But it doesn't to say it's not going on. There is all sorts. C-17, 31,000 feet heading that way. So when you put normal aircraft, look how insane that is. Unbelievable, complete nightmare. These are all the planes in the sky right now. It's just bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And the weird thing is, you know, if you happen to live, I don't know, somewhere dreadful like Colchester, you know, you can see this and you can look out the window and you can watch it as it goes past. It's pretty accurate, you know. So, yeah, I'm going to stop sharing that now. That was one of them flight radars. It's bonkers. But it's always good if you do hear aircraft at night time and like one goes over. Okay, wow, that's unusual. Go to that website, that flight radar, log on there. The chances are you're going to hear another plane coming soon. And you can zoom into where you live. And if you see that there's no plane on the radar, but you just heard it go over your house, that tells you that's a live military operational aircraft in the sky. Undeniable fact. This is going on all over the UK. I'm not sure about America, but looking at it, I would say yes. But whether they fly at night time, I don't really know. Dan has just said a B-52s landed there yesterday, 4 of them. Well, funny you should say that, Dan. Right, I want to share this with you guys. This is all moving up to be one weird year. Look at this. A B-52 go around at RAF Fairford. This is in England. Of a U-2 on the runway. Any of you guys know what a U-2 is? The spy plane at high altitude since the 50s. Yeah, a U-2 spy plane was on the runway there, and 2 of his bombers were flying around. Crazy. It's not just that site. This one, Yahoo was talking about it as well. This was 3 days ago now. Huge B-52 bomber seen flying over Swindon. Wow. With more on the way. More on the way. So what is that telling us? They've even been call signed. Wow. Because some of these military planes during operations, their call signs on the radar will be removed. I can't believe that they're flagging call signs on a public website. It's insane, really, what's going on. A journey towards the Cotswolds base. They come over from Canada. So any of you guys that live over in Canada that have been seeing B-52s fly overhead or whatnot in Canada, let us all know in the chat, because we are certainly seeing them land and flying around here in the UK. Well, look at this. We'll be flying overhead throughout the day and night until July, with flying times potentially falling between 11 p.m. at night and 5 a.m. See, we're not making this up. This is happening. This is night flying. This is military aircraft. This is no frigging bullshit. And like we've been saying, this doesn't happen all of the time. There's people out there who say they don't hear planes at night at all. Why all of a sudden are people hearing of all of these military aircraft at night? Why? Why? Let me just check this. There is a hell of a lot of saber rattling going on. A lot of Billy Big Bollocks moves going down. Again, China launches mock missile strikes on Taiwan to punish the new president. I'll tell you what, if you can find it, there's a YouTube video about a spokesperson for China basically saying, you know, why they are doing what they're doing to Taiwan. I'm not joking. The ego, the arrogance is just unbelievable. This is from a high member, head of state spokesperson talking. You can't make it up. It's almost like a really shit B movie, but this is real. I was shocked when I saw that. And we've already spoken a long time ago now about, we don't usually talk about nukes, but every now and again in a blue moon we do. This is the map of the UK where targets are. So if you're anywhere in this area and it goes down, you're toast. You are so absolutely toast. We've got clear spots, a little bit around here. Most of Wales, northern England, northern Scotland, they don't want to do anything to Ireland, so that's nice. But no, how true this is, how much propaganda is embroiled in this map, we just don't know. We really don't know. But what we do know is what was going on in the 80s was a massive, huge, humongous portion of fear porn cake going on in the 80s. I was around 10, 11, 12 years old at the time, where they was putting nuclear air raid sirens outside the school. And one day they tested them and they didn't tell anyone they was going to test them. So when you're a young boy, 10, 12 years old, you come home from school, news rounds on the telly, you watch the News at 6, etc. And you're hearing all of these stuff about Greenpeace, Greenham Commons, C&D, Russia and America, there's going to be nuclear war and everyone's getting scared. And then all of a sudden, as a kid, you hear these air raid sirens going off, the 4-minute warning. When you hear that as a kid, you think, oh, God, I've got 4 minutes. And then it's going to be 10,000 degrees. Oh, shit. Oh, guess what? I'm 2 miles away from home. Never going to see my parents again. It's a big lot of fear porn for a kid to take. And this does appear to be the same rhetoric. It's a proxy war. All of these different saber rattling, jostling for positions are all building to the tension, and it's very similar in a small way to what happened in Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Who remembers that? Where we was like minutes away from a all-out thermo-global nuclear war. Insane, absolutely insane. So we got 1,236 people in the chat. It's pretty damn good for 28 minutes. If you guys can hit the thumbs up and share this video, it really helps. Freds, yeah, and the day after, yeah, I got both those DVDs and I remember seeing them too. Insanely frightening. So what else have we got? Right, so that is Taiwan and China. What about the World Health Organization Pandemic Treaty? We've spoke about this already. So let me just see if I can get this set up, because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. Just bear with me. All right. Tell you what we could do before we leave that topic. You know when 7/7 happened, and you know when 9/11 happened. Well, what about the truth of what happened on those dates? This is true. This is facts. This isn't conspiracy theories. You can check. At the time of the Twin Towers attack, all the way around that area, the air defense was on a training exercise. And guess what the training exercise was? Theorizing that there was going to be an attack on the World Trade Center. True. It's absolutely true. So they was flying around in the air, pretending the World Trade Center was going to be attacked, and it's a big training exercise. But guess what? the World Trade Center actually did get attacked at exactly the same time that there was a training scenario going on. Now, you've got to say to yourself, what are the freaking odds of that? If you was a betting man in the bookies, can you imagine what odds you would get if you asked for that? The bookies would say, mate, I'll give you 1 billion to 1. That's never going to happen. The guy puts 100 quid on from Mossad and he clears up. Well, not only that, guess what happened on 7/7 in the bombings in London, in the tubeway and on the buses and stuff outside? But guess what? The emergency services were training, doing a drill in that area for precisely that attack. So you've got to say, oh my God, what are the odds that there was a training exercise for exactly that scenario at exactly the same time in the same location? What are the odds on that? So now you have to step back and go, hold on, the 9/11 exercise at the same time, 1 billion to 1. 7/7 exercise, friggin' 1 trillion to 1. So what are the odds on those two things happening? But they did. This is the thing. There's lots of people out there who just read the news and they weren't aware of this sort of stuff. But when they dig a little deeper and they find out, yes, you can find the information still, but only for a amount of time, the way it's going, because they are censoring shit right now. So Wayback Machine is a very good website to use if you can't find this information, because you can roll back time and look at original website publications on the date they were released. Fact. It's all about calling yourself a researcher and checking things. If you're snooping around and there's dead ends, you can't find anything, well, guess what? Dig a little deeper. Use Wayback Machine. It's really good. And yeah, these things have absolutely happened. So with those two key dates and training exercises in mind, what have you got right now? Yeah, I've already talked about this. The British Army in Steadfast Defender 2024. Look at this. The British Army is committed to European security training operations to build their air highest peak in 2024. In operations to build their highest peak this year, reinforcing land forces utility and centrally to defending Europe. We're going to come on to Europe in a second. It's got a lot to do with Russia and Ukraine. Okay, but we're going to get into that, so don't worry. We've already spoke about this exercise. I mentioned this last year, and most people have forgotten about it. But yeah, what is the chances of a huge, great, big, massive operation, 16,000 troops over 6 months, and it's reaching its peak this year? Yeah, what are the odds that we're having a big training exercise with all this military hardware of all of these combined NATO countries all taking part in a so-called exercise? Are we going to be getting something happen like we saw in 9/11 and 7/7? Maybe, maybe not. It's absolutely worth looking into for sure. Right. I don't think there's any more to do with the war stuff. I think we've pretty much got all that out of the way. Oh, actually, here is the last bit. This is the piece that I was looking for. Right. Okay. So that map I just showed of all of the military hardware in a massive, and it's huge, big training exercise all over Europe right now as we're speaking. And with all of the escalations rising in Ukraine, wow. Maybe this Taiwan thing's a bit of a sideshow. Maybe. Like I say, there's so much misinformation and propaganda out there. It's really hard to pinpoint the truth. There's so many people who think Putin and Russia is a big bully. They've gone along and they've beaten up Ukraine and they're doing all of this sort of stuff. Well, that is the mainstream version of events. And from what I'm being led to believe, anyone that goes along with mainstream media is a fool. Now, we've only got to look at what happened in 2020. How many people went along with the mainstream media and were proved to be fools? They've done what they are told by the mainstream media. And mainstream media has been pumping out information, making out that Putin and Russia are the bad guys. So, based upon what we learned in 2020 and 2021, What can we take from that? I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. And whatever the mainstream media say what's going on in Israel and Palestine, wow, what have you got? Look at the pro-Palestinian movement that's sweeping across the world. Yeah, they want everyone to believe, oh my God, poor Palestine, they're being attacked and blah, 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 and Hamas and stuff like that. Well, if that's what's being pushed out there by the mainstream, it's usually the opposite. Now, whether what's going on with Israel, whether they got a right to be there since the 50s, it's all open for debate. Of course it is. But all I'm trying to say is whatever the mainstream media are putting out there, it's usually the opposite of what's really happening. Now, there's so much bullshit that's going on with these proxy wars at the moment. It's very, very hard to find out the truth. I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I can imagine there's loads of people arguing who's right and who's wrong, and I know this and you don't know that. Listen, guys, if you can just quell it, because the moderators have got a tough job, try to make sure that people are being respectful. All that I urge is people just listen to the information, mull it over, and form their own opinion without snapping and being trigger happy and being triggered and just lowering your energy to, saying something you might regret later. So, did anyone hear about this? I checked this out recently, and look, UK Member of Parliament Andrew Bridgen bombshell. We are actually at war with Russia now. Wow, that is a bit of a bombshell. Let's be fair. Now look at this. In his interview with whoever that is, Doc Malik, UK MP Andrew Bridgen, however you pronounce his name, sorry about that, made this stunning statement. Rishi wants out. We are actually at war with Russia now. They just haven't told you. Wow. And the plan is to inform the public around July and August. Let that sink in. Why are they not releasing this information until July, August? We can conclude all sorts of weird and wonderful things about that statement, can't we? Rishi wants out. We are actually at war with Russia now. They just haven't told you. And the plan is to inform the public around July or August. Yeah, bit of a head shag, isn't it? So what have we got going on July, August? Let me think. The Paris Olympics. Yes, we've already done a video about that. And I've got a good friend of mine in Texas who has spent years researching dates and chronology and rubbing out all of the bullshit. Anything that he can't prove or has got no base facts, he doesn't bother. And he's managed to wipe away so much crap, which lots of people believe in. And that's making him a target because people are getting their thoughts, their beliefs challenged by someone who can actually back it up with solid research. And in Jason's opinion, he believes that the events which are going to unfold at the end of July and early August at the Paris Olympics are going to be huge. What are we saying? We've already talked about it on his channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and being notified. Otherwise, you're going to miss this stuff. Now, what is he saying? In the time of the Olympics, we are going to see a Muslim Islamic uprising with small arms across the Western world. Small arms, mainly knives. Based on his research, he means small knives. So we're talking daggers and things like this. He's not mentioning anything about like APCs, tanks, and heavy machine guns, just knife attacks all across the Western world by lots of Muslims during the time of the Paris Olympics. And we hope to God that that doesn't happen and he's made a mistake. But so far, he's been right about a lot of predictions. Like I said, this guy spent 30 years reading about this stuff and nothing else. And he can back up everything. In fact, not one person has stood up to the table and challenged him on anything. Why? Because no one can back up their claims. He can. So that's quite alarming, the time frame of what Mr. Bridgen just said. So what do we mean by a proxy war? A proxy war is a military conflict in which one or more third parties directly or indirectly support one or more state or non-state combatants in an effort to influence the conflict's outcome and thereby to advance their own strategic interest or to undermine those and their opponents. So basically, a proxy war is a physical version of what we're seeing now. Bullshit politics and propaganda. Huge, massive, overwhelmingly large overdose of propaganda is basically what a proxy war is. People being sly behind the scenes, jostling for positions, secret arms deals, trades, country selling to that country, unbeknownst to the public. And guess what's behind it all? Money. A shitload of money. The amount of money that is being spent on killing people is off the charts. You couldn't even begin to imagine it. And you've heard that term, money makes the world go around. Well, guess what? Just imagine over the last 100 years, there was no wars. No wars at all. What do you think the population would be like now if all of those people didn't die in those wars? Maybe they're supposed to do things like this. Maybe lots of these wars, battles, and attacks always happen around celestial events. Full moons, new moons, planetary alignments, all of these things, eclipses. You will be surprised if you was to write down all of these famous dates of battles through history and then compare them with what the planets are doing, what the moon's doing. You will be surprised. If you haven't researched into this, I suggest you have a look. You might be somewhat surprised. Speaking of which, we've spoke about what's coming down the pipe with the 1st of June. The 1st of June isn't that far away. In fact, it's not tomorrow, it's the following Saturday. I've done a video already today, which is talking about a huge protest in London about freedom, about people being pissed off with how we're being, how we're being taxed and treated, freedoms eroded, etc. It's almost like we've had it up to here protest. There's going to be thousands turn up in London, 12 o'clock noon, Saturday at Victoria Station, starting from there, making their way to Parliament Square at around 2 p.m. It's going to be massive. Huge. We've already spoke about this, I think October last year. Just you wait till 2024, summertime. We will see protests we haven't seen for ages. Now, who remembers the summer of 2023? You can't, can you? Do you know why? Because there wasn't one. Last year, summertime, the weather was shit. Summer was cancelled. We had an okay bit of spring. We had an amazing Indian summer in September. But May, June, July, August was crap. It was white, chemtrail to shit, overcast, rain, windy, cool, drizzly, horrible. There was no summer and no protests. Well, look at the farmers' protests, which happened in January in France. The French people, when they have it up to it, they protest. They're not soft like we are. They don't wait for it to be summertime. They went out there in January and had it right with the old bill. It was a nightmare. It was huge, big protest. The police got involved. Then protests turned to riots very, very quickly indeed. The French have got balls and we haven't. But like I'm saying, this year is when everything changes. We are going to see protests turn into riots big time. Whether we like it or not, it's going to happen. There is so much at stake with counter protesting groups, all heavily funded, all have links to government think tanks who are going to be the ones starting the trouble. 100%. But you won't read that in the mainstream media. That's why it makes a job like this, what I'm doing, is very difficult, because what I'm talking about here, the mainstream does not like. In fact, I've already had one YouTube video blocked, or I've been warned by YouTube already last week. It's getting harder to talk about these things. And no, I'm not antagonizing things. No, I'm not an agent provocateur. I am just stating facts of what's going on and the likely events of what's possibly coming down the line. I am not saying everyone go out and do this. Of course not. I'm just passing on facts because people want to know. Some people want to get involved. This protest in London It's predominantly going to be from people from all walks of life. It's not going to be 99%, old firm boys from the Skinner days. It's just not. In fact, you're all going to see videos, you're going to see live streams. Mayor Tasui is probably going to be covering it because he lives there. And what you see on the live streams there, you just look around. They're going to be men, women, and children, families, all sorts going to that. But what we're going to see in the mainstream press is it kicked off and it was right-wing, extreme thugs, conspiracy theorists, anti-vaxxers, all of that crap. So basically, all of those terminologies which I've just mentioned, the anti-vaxxers, the conspiracy theorists, the far right, the extreme right, all it is those terms blanket cover people who just want to understand what's going on, who question things. That's all we are. All we are doing is watching what's going on. We're trying to use intuition to guide us through the bullshit and the truth, and try to understand what's going on so we can better protect ourselves should our lives or our lifestyles become under threat. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called common sense. The buzzword is called prepping, but all it is common sense. It's people asking questions, people using their valuable time to try and research to find out exactly what's going on. And we all know how corrupt, disillusional government and the mainstream press is. If you think the government are to be trusted, if you think the press are to be trusted, I put it to you that you are totally delusional. And if that hurts you, fine, deal with it. That's just how it is. There's so many things coming down the pipe. It's frigging bonkers what's coming down the pipe. So just pop into the chat real quick. Thanks everyone, all of the mods, for sharing links. It's really, really cool. I appreciate that. You guys are working hard. I know there's going to be idiots in the chat. There always will be. So yeah, don't be scared. Just sack them if they're being rude. Okay, 0 Fs given. So yes, the 1st of June, protest in London. What else is coming on the same date? Right, I'm going to see disinformation anti-WHO convoy. So you look at this. This person's called Kerry Cullingham, and we're going to mention her in a minute. So this woman here has wrote this report. Okay, don't forget this was 3 days ago now. This year, 2024, the 21st of May, 2024. Today is the 24th of May, 2024. Kerry Cullingham wrote this report. I want you to pay close attention to the verbiage that this woman used. In fact, I highlighted some. There's so much of it, I give up, and you'll understand in a minute. Some of the most vocal global right-wing conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers are heading to Geneva at the end of this month, May, to agitate against the World Health Organization and its pandemic treaty, including a Trump loyalist linked to the 6th of January storming of the US Capitol. An alliance of right-wing groups, conspiracy theorists, and alternative health practitioners calling itself the Geneva Project has planned a closed meeting on the 31st of May, while on the 1st of June, don't forget the same day as that protest in London, it hosts a 150-minute innovation-only press conference and public protest to coincide with the end of the World Health Assembly. We've already spoken about the World Health Organization and that time frame. It's coming to an end on the 1st of June, hence a big protest in Geneva on the day that it finishes there. On one of their key and false claims against the pandemic agreement and the amended international health regulations, the IHR, is that they will give World Health Organization the power to supersede domestic laws and declare lockdowns and other measures during pandemics and public health emergencies. It says here false and false claims. She's already determined that's a false claim. Protest speakers include Trump campaigner Dr. Kat Lindley, UK anti-vaxxer Dr. Asim Matora, biologist and author Brett Weinstein, and Swiss lawyer Philip Cruz. It just goes on and on and on and on. I'm not joking. The amount of times that you read things like far right, conspiracy theory, anti-vaxxers, alternative health practitioners, Trump supporters. I'm not joking. This is the woman here. Okay. So when we go to, hold on, let me see. I've got to stop sharing. So this person we're going to expose right now. Here she is. Okay. Kerry Cullen. This is the very woman, this one here, who has just written that report. Okay. Passionate about health, social justice. Wow. Social justice. You're a very funny lady. And she is literally just slating everything which we understand and believe and research and spend our valuable time looking into. A bit to literally prop up the bullshit. And she just goes on and on. Look at this. Donald Trump is unfit to be president. It just goes on. So basically, all of the things which we stand for, she is the counter or part of the counter. I've just seen the signal thing come up on the screen. So this live stream could be terminated because I'm talking about things like this. It always happens. If this live stream gets cancelled or the quality goes crap, I'm going to do my very best to come back on it as soon as I possibly can. I'm just pointing it out there because I know what happens when these things happen. We got 1,450 people in the chat right now. I've come out of the chat. Right, so we're taking that away. Right, we're going on to SWE next. This is all going to make sense. You guys have got to stay to the end. This is going to make a lot of sense when you get to the end, okay? Right, here we go. Negotiations are ongoing for 2 complementary deals that could be formalized at the May 27th to the 1st of June. Don't forget the 1st of June meeting. An update to existing health rules on outbreaks. A new legally binding treaty. Legally binding treaty? That is the ultimate piss take. That is not legally binding at all. To shore up the world's defenses against future pathogens after you know what happened in 2020, which apparently killed millions of people. Wow. So yeah, this come out today, this afternoon. Okay. So this ends. This very important treaty ends on the 1st of June. The 1st of June. Also, that big march in London about the freedoms. So what else? What else? Did you know about this? First time in I don't know how many decades or hundreds of years. On the 1st of June, look at the alignments of these planets here. It is rare to see all of these planets in alignment. It is very rare, actually, all of them there. This sort of thing doesn't happen very often, boys and girls. So why are they planning all of this stuff on that day? Do you think it's some weird, freaky coincidence? And do you think that because the eclipse happened, nothing really happened? Well, do we understand about rituals and behind the scenes and satanic cults? Do we understand anything about that? Some of us do. Many of us probably don't. But these things absolutely go on. They do. But not only... Hold on a minute. Right. Sorry. We're talking about planetary alignments. So, yeah, I just found it was a bit odd that all of these things are happening on them dates. So, we're moving along through the time frame. And we're going to the Olympics. I've already done a video on this. The Olympics. So we're talking right at the end of July and the first couple of weeks or 10 days of August. Big, big, important time in the crazy calendar of this year. Olympic dreams bring big security nightmares to Paris. This is absolutely huge. The stuff which they are coming up against the 33rd Olympiad, 33, and its 69-day journey to Paris, the Olympic torch. All of these numbers, very significant. The 33rd Olympiad. Did we realize that this 33rd Olympiad is the first Olympics in the history of all of the Olympics to be not held on land but on water? What does water signify? Emotional. You can go political. What about maritime law, the law of the land, but not on the water? That's what they do. Maritime law is on the water, but not on the land, which is the stuff of common law, which most of us understand now. It's very, very significant. And the 33rd Olympiad. I mean, what are the chances? How many more coincidences are there? We've also had some new stuff only come to light very recently as well. All of these things have been fired off since that solar eclipse. It is bonkers, I know, but the facts are there. Look at this. The new Nostradamus guy predicts the exact date when World War III will start. Who read about this? This guy here, Kushal Kumar. He goes on to say, according to the Daily Star, that's hilarious, there is a high chance World War III will start next month on the June the 18th. So this guy is predicting World War III is going to kick off on the 18th of June. Whether it does or not, who knows? But what's happening here, you need to read behind the lines here. All of this stuff is being publicized and put into the public conscious arena. Whether it's true, whether it's bullshit or not, it's completely irrelevant. The point that it's being put out there should tell us a lot of things. That's what we need to focus on. Why? When was that published? What date? Was there a new moon? Was there a full moon? What was it coming under in astrology terms? Like I said earlier, the amount of historical battles through history have been proven linked to so many astrological events, you just can't deny it. It's absolutely true. And like I say, if you don't believe in astrology, you think it's bullshit. Well, how many royal families around the world have astrologers? Who's heard of John Dee? Who's heard of Francis Bacon? These people were real. They were held in high esteem and they really knew their shit. Just because you haven't got a PhD in the occult, you know what I mean? You need to look into it at least, or try to understand some of it. But to completely ignore it, that is acting like someone who doesn't really do their own research. There isn't. They're not in tune to their intuition. Therefore, they're going to have cognitive dissonance. Oh, I can't believe that. That's too far. Why not look into it at least? Have an inquisitive mind. So I did try to get this in some sort of chronological order, but it's really difficult. Another thing as well, look at November. At the end of this year, all in the same year, 2024, the 1st, the 4th, the 17th and the 30th. So the 4th, look at that. These two events happening a day before, guess what? What is happening on the 5th of November in America? Answers on a postcard, please. I know some of you guys love to play around. Here we go. 2024 United States elections scheduled to be held on November the 5th, 2024. Yes. Why would they choose that date? Just when those weird planetary alignments are happening again. Bit of a coincidence. Or is it? Wow, Terry, thank you for that donation on PayPal during live. I really appreciate your help, sir. Thank you very much indeed. It really goes so we can carry on getting this stuff out there. So what do we know about the 5th of November? Okay, the obvious, but what about this? V for Vendetta 2005. It was all set up around the 5th of November. All of it was. And we all know what happened in that film. This film was released on a certain date for a certain reason, only to register with lots of people who feel the same way about a dystopian political action scenario. V for Vendetta. If you've not watched this film, I strongly urge that you watch it. It will go on to explain an awful lot of things. Right, let's have a look. What other stuff have we got to talk about? Who's heard of this? The Doomsday Clock, 90 seconds to midnight. It's almost right at the very, very top. And there's numerous reasons why they are putting at that time. The nuclear risk, climate change, bio threats, tech, it's all having a bearing. But this is the thing. This is what I'm trying to make you guys understand. This is accelerating because of this. The dangers of AI. One of the most significant technological developments in the last year involved the dramatic advance of generative artificial intelligence. The dramatic advance. I shit you not, I can't emphasize the importance of how fast this stuff's moving down the line. When you've got the powers that be, you've got unlimited funds, unlimited minds. Well, now AI is plugged into that, speeding up things so fast. All of the predictions that you've worked out and you've come to conclude over the years, it's all been rubbed. Why? Because most of us, fail to understand the genuine threat of artificial intelligence. I am not kidding. This stuff is pushing this agenda so hard, and it's almost like they needed it to be. Why? Because lots of us are waking up. We are pushing back. We are slowing their agenda down. And they have got a very important deadline to meet. And that has got a lot to do with planetary alignments as well. You will see as we go through time, the amount of coincidences with planets, the moon, the sun, all of these things. We're talking the Sumerians had this shit wired years ago. It's not just some Russell Grant bullshit. It's not. This stuff is real. They work to these time frames. A lot of it is hidden, hence the word occult. Occult just means hidden. Okay. All of this stuff is the apocalypse. And the apocalypse isn't the end of the world. The apocalypse is unveiling. Unveiling. Unveiling what? Unveiling what's really going on, what the truth is. And the only way the powers that be that can meet their deadlines is to use AI. Why? Because they're screwed. Too many of us are getting smart. We're sharing stuff like we are now, and we're telling everyone, and lots of people are getting pissed. That's why this year we are going to see a huge uplift in protest, not just in the UK, but across the West. You're going to see protests in Europe, UK, America, and Canada. They've already had it right with the truckers, but we all know what happened there. Look how dystopian their government is in Canada. My heart goes out to you Canadians. That tosser, honestly. We got the guy who apparently run in London. Lots of people want him out of the way. It's crazy. Like I say, lots of these things, which we've been talking about Taiwan and China. We've been talking about Ukraine and Russia with this big training exercise going on. But what about Israel? What about that? Well, they don't want to be pushed out of the way. They want to be in the forefront too. So what have we got regarding dates? Okay. These have gone already. I'm not Jewish. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce some of these. But these are the key dates in the Jewish calendar. Study these dates. It's insane. Really have a good look. Okay. Because they are going to be important. If there is going to be any attacks from the Palestinian under the guise of terrorist Hamas, etc., trust me, they are going to be attacking some part of Israel during those events and those dates. It's a no-brainer. I'm sorry I've not been in the chat, but I've just noticed the time. So just briefly, Henry Weston's. No, I'm not sponsored by these. They don't know I'm doing this. It's just a drink that I like, and I know it's been a bit of a week for most of you guys, so I want to share a drink with you guys. So I hope you're all doing well, and if you've got a drink and you want to have it at the same time, hey, that's really cool. It's really, really cool indeed. But you don't have to. If you've got a glass of water, a cup of tea, cup of chocolate, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The cool thing is that we're all drinking together. Cheers, everybody. Oh, I must say that's very, very nice. So we're going to roll on with it as well. Right. Where was it? Okay, this is important. Do you know what? I'm one of the only persons that I know, not many people, who didn't see the Northern Lights. Remember the Northern Lights recently? Wow, look at this. The Northern Lights could make another UK appearance soon. This was yesterday. Okay, so if you're like me, you didn't see it the first time round, well, guess what, party goers? Here it comes again. So it said anyway. They could return in a matter of weeks. So no doubt we are going to be told in advance before this happens. Now, why are they telling us? Why are they hell-bent on lots of people watching this spectacle? Why are some people seeing it and some not? How are some people hearing about it and some not? It's a very good question. But nonetheless, it is very unusual, practically impossible to see this sort of phenomena in the UK, especially southern UK. It's called the Northern Lights for a reason. You only see it pretty much in the Arctic Circle. And let me tell you this, that is a hell of a long way from Hampshire. Okay, but people in Hampshire saw this. Hampshire is a southern county in England. It is unbelievably rare and very unusual for this to happen. Who remembers that program in the 80s with the celery chasing people and everyone went blind? The Day of the Triffids. Do you remember that? When there was that strange phenomena in the night sky where everyone looked. Only the people who saw that phenomena went blind. The people who didn't see it didn't. Now, I wonder if that's going to have some weird effect. And I know it sounds outlandish and a bit crazy. Personally, I don't believe that them Northern Lights were the natural phenomena of which we are being told by the bullshitting mainstream media. I want you to look at this. This is from the HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Okay, that's HAARP. You've probably seen that a lot on social media sites and pages talking about chemtrails and weird shit going on in the sky. It's in Fairbanks, okay, in Alaska. Look at this. May the 8th to the 10th, 2024, a transmission notice, okay. HAARP will be conducting a research campaign May the 8th to the 10th with operating times specified in the table below. Operating frequencies will vary, but HAARP transmissions will be between 2.8 and 10 megahertz. Actual transmit days and times are highly variable based on real-time ionospheric and geomagnetic conditions. So they have openly admitted that that facility was 100% operational during this time. Guess when we saw those Northern Lights? Honestly, this shit just gets weirder. It just gets weirder. So we dig a little deeper. What else? What else? It's bonkers. What about CERN? Look at this. The schedule in CERN runs from the 8th of April, when the eclipse started, until the 25th of November. Yeah, so that's going to cover between the eclipse and way past the American elections. I shit you not. This is from CERN. It has been turned on at the precise time of that solar eclipse, running right now all the way to the 25th of November. You literally can't make this stuff up. This year is a freaking nightmare. And like I say, it wouldn't have all come out in 1 year if it wasn't for AI. Like I said, that is really pushing all of this stuff ahead of time. The powers that be are going, thank God for that, we're saved. We were starting to lose it then because more people were waking up. All these deadlines, I'm like, we're in the shit because we're not going to reach them. Thank God for AI, because now we can meet all of these times and get a pat on the back from the devil guy at the top. Sounds crazy? Of course it does. It all depends on where you are in your journey of research. How many years, how many months worth, years worth of research that you've done to come to your own conclusions. The worst thing you can do is to take someone else's information at face value without double checking it and cross-referencing it yourself. You do that, you will arrive at wrong conclusions. You will. We've all done it back in the day, but guess what? We all make mistakes. The problem is, if we don't learn by mistakes, we keep repeating them, we're not going to get nowhere. So you need to understand, if you started doing that sort of shit back in your research days and you're still doing it now, you haven't learned. You need to start putting your own time in and doing this. Luckily for me, this has turned out to be my job, and I have time in the day to research. And many of you don't, and I get it. Many of you have to do that 9 to 5 bullshit job, and it just isn't the time. I understand. There's people out there who find time and make time, who have time to actually do this. And you know, it's really hard to get this out on YouTube, especially when they block my videos. What they done last night, they banned it. It's gone. How am I supposed to earn money when I keep doing this? It's not easy. And the more that you speak the truth about this sort of stuff, the more people just distance themselves away from you. We don't want to sponsor you because you talk about conspiracy theories. No, sorry, we can't sponsor you. Wow, it's really difficult to stand on your own 2 feet with YouTube in this day and age talking this sort of shit. I'm not joking. I crap you not. It's a nightmare. So we're going through all of these things, protest riots. What about the food? What about the harvest this year? I went to the prepper meet the other day and I spoke to the landowner there, and they've got a grow your own fruit farm. And I said, when's all the pick your own going to be ready by? And she said, well, usually it's ready like early June. But this year it's been so wet, everything's taken so long, they don't even expect it to be up and running until August. Maybe July if they're lucky. That's how bad things have been affected by the weather. So if a pick your own fruit farm is struggling, what about other commercial farms trying to put crops and harvest in traditional times so they're ready in traditional times? Who remembers how much rain we've had lately? I am not making this up. It's crazy. And I know you're going to get thick, moronic idiots say, you live in Wales, of course it rains. Well, very funny, prick lips. Guess what? When you live in Wales like I do, and you speak to farmers who have been here for 200 years, and they say it's one of the worst winters that they've ever known, go and say that to them. Do you know what? They'll knock your block straight off. They'll put it in the ground and try and grow it. That's how bad it is out here. It's so wet, it's ridiculous. So to try and grow crops in the weather conditions that we've been getting, very, very difficult, big time. So what do we expect from that? Well, common sense would say, if you can't sow the crops, you're not going to get yields. If you're not going to get yields, you're not going to have many crops come out of it. So what we're seeing, food shortages. What if that sort of weather has been happening around the world? Because yes, I know we get some of our food imported from other countries, but what if they've been having the same? So, you know, in the UK, we grow X amount of food, okay? In a perfect environment, no problems, the maximum amount that we grow, all good, great. A certain percentage of that gets exported overseas, and a certain amount stays in our country. But what happens when the weather is so shit, it's so wet, so ridiculously impossible to grow crops, and we can only produce a certain amount? What happens? Do we send as much as we can abroad to get the money, or do we sell it to us guys here in the UK? What are they going to do? Some line has to be drawn. Personally, our own countries should sort us out first. Simple as that. But what if other countries adopt that attitude? What if other countries grow X amount and say, Christ, we've only got enough for our own, we can't export any to the UK? Well, guess what? Newsflash, people, crop shortage, food shortage. We're going to be in the shit. So if you haven't got any food at all stored, the time to start doing that was yesterday. Already you're behind. You need to make sure that you've got enough food in your house or property or somewhere safe that's kept in a cool, dark place for a minimum, and I mean a bare minimum of 3 months. Why? Because any natural disaster or emergency that's ever happened, the longest problem time is 3 months. So that is the bare minimum that we're rolling with. If you want to really ramp it up 1 or 2 years, great. The more, the better, because you are going to save a lot of money in the long run. All the time you're buying food today, it's always going to be cheaper than next year, next month. We all know what the prices were in 2019. We all know that food prices have gone up at least 100%. And if you think that's bullshit, think again. Think again. Look at some of the items in the supermarket in 2019 and look how much they are now. They have more than doubled their price, i.e. more than 100%. That's a fact. So it makes sense to buy stuff now because it's cheaper than what it will be tomorrow. You really think the food prices are going to stay the same? Do you really think that they're going to come down? They're not. You've got to be mad to wish and believe that bullshit. It's not. What about buying chocolate bars? Look how small they are. Look how much more money you got to pay. And I've had a right go at Cadbury's online. I couldn't help myself, but I did. And I said, the prices that you're charging for the amount of product that we're getting is ridiculous. And we got to spend more money. Why? Just to satisfy your shareholders. So that is really, really piss poor customer relations. All they're interested about is making profits for their shareholders. They don't give a toss that you've got to spend £1 for a frigging Mars bar, which is undersized. Don't get me started. There's loads. You know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the chat. It thoroughly pisses me off when I see all of us getting robbed blind with that. It's crazy. But not only that, cyber attacks. That's been banded about by Mr. Schwab to happen this year as well. We've had conferences. We've had artificial intelligence conferences at Bletchley Park. We've been really looking into cyber attacks. And I even done a live stream the other day. The amount of cyber attacks is the second most important risk to national security. Yeah, for real. Cyber attacks. Pretty scary when you consider nearly everything is being put online. And that is one place where all of these attacks are happening. Sounds like a really shit idea, doesn't it? I tell you what, let's make everything run online and nowhere else, and let's attack it there. Because you can drift in and drift out. It's not like robbing a bank where you put a mask on, you go in there, get your shooter out, give us your loot. It doesn't work like that. You've got some 19-year-old kid in Slovakia going and just bloody moves 2 million euros into his account. That shit's happening everywhere. Cyber attacks, hacking, it's real. The more that you can do offline, the better you're going to be. The more that you rely online, the more at risk you could potentially be, especially moving forward and especially with the growth of artificial intelligence, especially this year. It's really moving forward. We've already spoke about the online safety bill. It was the Online Safety Act. And then our lovely, wonderful king, the one with the chunky fingers, signed it off. So that's in force now. And they're trying to put it to us that it's because we're protecting the children. We don't want to see child trafficking online. We don't want to see revenge porn. It's horrible. So what we need to do is we need access to every single private telecommunication for every citizen in the UK to monitor what they're doing, just in case we can find the bad guys. That's real. It's happening now. Private end-to-end encrypted messaging networks have already been infiltrated by government snoops under the guise of making children safe. That's what they use. That's their excuse. But what they really want to do is spy on you, to spy on me and everyone else. Why do you think that alcohol was really, really cheap in supermarkets? Do you think that was an attack on the pubs to close them down? Maybe. Where was the places that we all used to meet up a long time ago and talk in private? In a pub. Yeah, the pubs are closing. Look how many pubs there are now compared to look how many pubs there were in 1989. It's a huge, huge drop off the cliff. You can't just go to a pub now and have a chat because there are hardly any. That's why they made beer and everything else really cheap at supermarkets, to pull people away from the pubs. Pubs are closing. Guess what they're going for next? Libraries. Yeah, they don't want libraries anymore. They don't want places where people can meet up and talk in private. No, they want us all doing it online where they can freaking spy on us and do all sorts of weird, horrible shit like they're doing in China. The social credit score. Yes, the social credit system. If you say anything which goes against whatever the government or health organization says, you are going to be penalized. You're going to be shown publicly on screens all the way around your country, making you look like you're an evil, horrible, against the government person. They're going to deduct points. They're not going to allow you to get on their aeroplane. They're not going to allow you to put fuel in your car, etc. You think I'm making this up? I am not. This is reality in China right now. They've already got CCTV networks all over the UK. The UK is probably one of the highest surveilled countries on the planet for its size. It's already there. All they have to do is put turnstiles in places, facial recognition. Nope, your face brings up something because you said something horrible against the government on Twitter 3 weeks ago or 3 years ago, and you're not allowed to go through this barrier. Step aside, next person, please. You protest, there's going to be armed police or some robot one of these days take you away. Yeah. And all the time this is going on, people watch X Factor, go to football, and don't even think what's going on. Some of us know what's going on. Some of us know where it's going. Some of us know shit's going to get really real this year. All we can do is think of ourselves and our loved ones. Forget everyone else. You can't save everyone. Don't even try. I know it goes against human instinct to help others, but when push comes to shove, you're going to help yourself and your family, and that's what we need to do. Think about all these riots and protests that I talked about earlier. Do you really think that all of these police officers are going to be drafted in to go on riot patrol? There's not going to be enough. They're going to draft them in from other counties. Well, guess what happens? Other counties, therefore, have got a shortfall in police protection numbers. So what does that do? That leaves whatever part of the country that they've come from is very thin on the ground. Criminals are going to pick up on that really quick, and they're going to take the piss. They're going to do burglaries, shoplift, and do whatever because they know there's not enough police to cover. Why? Because they're all busy in London where it's kicking off. Why is it kicking off? Because people are pissed off with how this country's being run. That's why. All this is coming to start real soon. This year, summertime. Protest season. They actually call it protest season. Oh, I'm not joking now. It's crazy what's going on. And then later on, like we said, what's going on in America in November, the nail in the coffin, the last kick in the bollocks to swing down is flu season. We've already talked about the World Health Organization pandemic treaty discussions, finalizations to that amendment for that schedule. Before they're calling it a schedule now, it's a document really, and that's coming to an end in the 1st of June, which is not far away, a couple of weeks, all right, next week. So once they've got that, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get away with it because there's just not enough people kicking their doors and saying no, the World Health Organization isn't going to be the one world government telling everyone we can't go out of our houses, we need to wear this shit and all of this bull crap. No. If they get away with it and it comes off, trust me, they will be doing a lockdown at the end of this year. And it's going to be anytime after September. Flu season. Yep. Because everything legally by that document will be in place and they will have the green light to say, do you know what I'm going to say? Do you know what the keywords are? All the World Health Organization have to do whenever they want to is to declare publicly a global health emergency. If you're at work and you hear it on the radio or you're at home around flu season, if you hear global health emergency by the World Health Organization, take it from me, you haven't got much time left. If you don't want to be locked down in your city, you need to get the friggin' out of there fast. When they start locking down these cities for real, you won't be able to get out to your little place in the country or your friend's house who lives in some rural area. You won't be able to. They will lock the roads down. They will seal it off. This is a real emergency. No one's leaving. They've already tried it. 2020 was just a test. They wanted to see how all of the integrations and systems work together while they theorized this global pandemic, which most of us know was bullshit anyway. But now they've got the training stuff behind them. Now they know how long things take, who reacts, what to do, what not to do. Yeah. June the 1st, that treaty gets finalized. And if they get away with it, all they got to do is just state publicly anytime they want, there's a global health emergency. They don't have to prove shit. All they have to do is announce it publicly. That gives a green light to all governments. Every government on the planet has signed up to this. And literally, the World Health Organization is going to take over when it comes to health matters. Exactly. That's how freaky it is. All of that's coming down the road. We've already spoke about on this YouTube channel about disease X. Stuff's very, very real. Very, very real. Like I said, we talked about the eclipse. We talked about all of that, blah, blah, blah. Andy, thank you for that. On PayPal, I'm coming into the chat. I'm sorry I've been out. There's been 1,000 comments since I was in here last. Is there any questions? I can't see any colourful questions anywhere. Yeah, bird flu. John, absolutely, mate. When this announcement is going to come from the World Health Organization around flu season, it's going to be a variant of H5N1. That's my own personal belief. They've already put the scare tactics and the fear porn about bird flu already. How many animals have been culled in America? How many have been put down across Europe, etc.? Migrationary bird pattern changes are very real, and they are absolutely going to be using H5N1 linked with something else. Now, we already know about the spike proteins and the nonsense which they tried on in 2020. Like I said, that was just a test. When this stuff rolls out for real, and they are going to do it real one of these days, it's not going to be the same. And you're going to notice the difference between a bullshit scenario which happened in 2020 to the real thing. You are going to know. Because let me tell you this, if what the powers that be, the press, the government was saying, that was real in 2020, I would fully expect to go to any hospital and to see it packed, overrun, cars all over the place. It would be a nightmare. But the truth is it didn't happen. The truth is the hospitals are freaking empty. In a real serious global pandemic, do you really believe that all of the hospitals would be empty? Do you really believe that? But that's the truth of what happened. And I can say that because the amount of times people got their phone, they went to their nearest hospital, and they walked around inside filming it. And it was empty everywhere. These videos soon got taken down. They did. The hashtag going around in 2020 was film your hospital. That was the hashtag. It didn't take long for that hashtag to be completely overwhelmed and drowned in duck-faced, weird-looking women. Crazy, but true. That's what they've done. They just flooded it with basically soft porn. So anyone who wanted to go to that hashtag and search what was really going on with these hospitals were met with all of these dinlo birds everywhere. That's what they do. They drown it in stuff. As soon as a hashtag starts trending, they, oh, what are they all talking about now? Oh my God, we can't have that. They're bloody hell, they're showing like what's going on in the hospitals. We're not having that. What? Just flood it with porn. And all of the hospital things, they got bumped down, millions and millions and millions of like videos later, and they just disappeared, got deleted, taken down, whatever. But that was a fact. I saw that. Anyone watching in the chat right now, did you remember seeing that too? This was on Instagram. I don't really do Facebook. I don't go on there. So yeah, let me know what you remember seeing about Film Your Hospital, the empty hospitals in 2020. Do you remember seeing that? Wow, it looks like they're trying to silence me again. People are already saying that the signal's dropping. As soon as I start talking about hospitals and stuff, they really don't like this medical misinformation stuff. They just don't like it at all. So thanks very much to anyone, or everyone, sorry, who's donated and supported tonight. That's really, really helpful. You guys on PayPal are seriously helping like you wouldn't believe. I've got a lot to catch up on because I wasn't working for nearly 3 weeks. It's hard, but I'm getting there. It's difficult. So you guys who support me, really appreciate that. The new merch is all available. Click on the link below and it's all there. The mugs and the t-shirts are flying. The hoodies, some of them are gone, but that's looking good. So you guys are awesome. The prepper meet, if any of you guys are interested in coming along to the middle of Wales, I think it's the middle of June for like 3 nights. Blimey, that's gassy. Come along. The tickets are selling fast. There's only going to be about 30 or so left. So if you leave it too long, you just won't be able to get there. When it sells out, I might be able to put another link to the next farm so people can camp there and just have a literally 5-minute walk, and they can come in and meet all of us preppers, all of us conspiracy theorists, all of us anti-vaxxers, all of these right-wing people. That's what they're calling us. But really, all we are is inquisitive people who want to do the best for ourselves and our loved ones. That's all we are when you boil away the piss. So that camping event is literally for all of those like-minded people. And you guys have been to the prep meet before. There's loads in the chat right now. You know how cool it is. It's wicked. And it's like £11 a night. It's the cheapest that you're going to get anywhere in the UK in high season. Bring a car, bring a tent, bring a caravan, bring an RV, whatever it is. Set it up, have a fire there. Fire pits are free. You ain't got to bring a fire pit. It's really cool. I'm not joking. It's a great event. And that's going to be, I think it's the 14th of June. So not far away now. There's still time to get in there. I'm just looking at the chat quick. You guys are awesome. Yeah, thanks ever so much to the new members. I think there was a new member earlier, but it's gone. I can't see any stuff like that. I don't know why. There's nothing's really happened tonight. Okay, that's cool. No problem. Thanks to everyone who's taken part in watching all of these live streams that I do. It really, really helps. If you can share this video on social media, it seriously helps, because I keep saying it, but it's true. I am being banned. You can tell lots of people in here right now know that I done a live stream the other day and it was saying there were 6 people in the chat and it was over 200. The numbers are being fudged. They're blocking my videos. They're taking away the adverts and blocking the money. So it's really hard to get by. You guys who help, you know you are. I really appreciate everything that you do. So sharing it really helps. I'm not joking. Thumbs up, subscribe, notification bell, and share. Them things really help. All right. So we're going to be getting on with more videos probably over the weekend. Okay. It's going to be a crazy weekend. There's more stuff to look into because the situation with Taiwan is evolving, and we're going to find out more tomorrow probably. Lastly but not least, all of the moderators. You guys are awesome, especially my wonderful partner Rachel. Thanks for running the show there, darling. I know it's hard, and you know not everyone can literally be on point like you. And please in the chat, because there's always going to be idiots, people who disagree, people who've got big bollocks and all the rest of it. So yeah, I appreciate you, Rachel, for doing that, and all of you other moderators as well. You guys are fantastic from keeping your shit together when things are going down. So I will probably see you at some point over the weekend. You guys take care. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.